When the Taliban took over Afghanistan in August of 2021, many people warned how this would devastate women's rights in the country. At the time, there were concerns that women would be shut out of society, basically removed from public life.
And now the women, and especially the girls of Afghanistan, who've grown up in a country where they have freedom and rights, fearing all of that will be stripped away.
And in the last 2 years, those fears have become a reality.
Taliban-led government suddenly ordered most secondary schools for girls to close. Students packed up their bags and headed home.
And the Taliban government of Afghanistan has ordered an indefinite ban on university education for women.
The international community says the Taliban government is standing in the way of help. For one, by not allowing female aid workers to operate in Afghanistan.
Bans on school, university, work, and there's been yet another crackdown. This time on an industry largely run for and by women.
The Taliban has announced that it's ordering hair and beauty salons in Afghanistan to shut down.
Women's activists and watchdogs say that the Taliban's new ban on their businesses will push them further into poverty and isolation.
Women have pushed back against the ban, taking to the streets in protest. They were met with hoses, tasers, and bullets.
Theirs is a rare, if small, protest. Part of a wider fury at the erosion of yet more freedoms.
The removal of these businesses means one of the last safe havens for women has disappeared.
They're curbing the ability of women to live as a human. That's what I call it, because it is a gender apartheid in its very true meaning, in a way that women, only because the fact that they're born women, they're not allowed to work, they're not allowed to go to get an education, they're not allowed to go to a park, they're not allowed to go to gym, they're not allowed to travel. Literally, they're imprisoned in their homes.
And here's the thing about this ban. While it might target women, they aren't the only ones who will feel the impact.
This also shows the lack of understanding from the Taliban to understand that what catastrophe, what crisis that this is creating, because when half of the population is not able to work, how the society is going to function.
Because Afghanistan is run by a globally recognized terrorist group, the country has been slapped with counterterrorism restrictions by the international community. After the Taliban took over, a slew of sanctions were imposed. The former Afghan government held billions of dollars in U.S. Treasury bonds and gold, but the Biden administration froze those assets shortly after the Taliban takeover. Around the same time, the International Monetary Fund also withheld more than $400 million that was meant to help the country cope with the coronavirus pandemic. The World Bank also stopped dispersing aid money meant for Afghanistan. And all of this has left the country in a pretty dire economic state.
The country's entire economy is now at the risk of collapse. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the situation is very urgent.
The freeze on assets and international sanctions have crippled the Afghan economy. Health centers are overburdened, children are malnourished, and doctors are helpless.
Before the Taliban's takeover, women were major contributors to Afghanistan's economy. A report released by the UN found that excluding women from its workforce would result in a loss of $1 billion a year. The ban on beauty salons alone will affect around 12,000 businesses across the country. And because these workers have no official access to education, their chances of finding other jobs are slim.
This has affected and prevented an estimated 60,000 women from earning their livings. And most of those women were the breadwinners of their families.
Simply put, with Afghanistan's precarious economic state, it can't really afford to lose this industry. And as women continue to see their chance at job opportunities diminish, they also lose their chance to become financially independent.
What's happening here is right now we are seeing that the very, very small, narrow corners where women could still seek opportunities for finding an employment is stripped out. So literally half of the population in Afghanistan are not allowed to earn their living.